Oh, hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builder Supply. This video is to bring you a closer look at the Medeco part number CP030001 package of 100 of their tumbler springs. Medeco will have more than one type of spring in their cylinder. This is the spring for the pin chambers. And a couple of basic dimensional properties of the spring, just for the sake of archiving the data, really. Diameter, outside diameter of the spring is 0.13 inch, 0.13. Now let's take get an idea of the overall length. Say you'd be about 0.524 overall length. A wire diameter about 0.008. 0.008. It's non-ferrous. It may no, it's definitely ferrous. The question becomes is what's the base material? It may be steel. We'll see if they reveal the base material of the spring. And when you buy one in the supporting documentation, when you buy one, you're buying a package of 100. Now let's switch to the screen view where we can take a look at some supporting documentation. Okay, now there's a link on the page of the item that we're looking at to the manufacturer's page here, and from there we can pull up some information, supporting documentation. The technical service manual. This is an old manual. I don't know when this was published. It could have been the 1980s. And it has the original Medeco and then biaxial technology in it. Nothing beyond biaxial. But this ought to be able to give us some information about the springs. Right there. The 10 through 50 series spring. And what that means is this is not the right spring for their cam locks. Their cam lock has it's a different system. The spring is certainly going to be smaller. The CP030001 series spring. We can also pull up let's pull up their current catalog. And get that document pulled up. Let's copy the part number. See what sort of description they provide. Okay, so it's CP dash. So this is going to show up in the book multiple times. Thumb turn retaining pin spring. So for a European cylinder, this is probably going to be part number 20. Well, it's certainly part number 20. I don't see any other reference to it. Yes, thumb turn retaining pin spring. Thumb turn retaining pin spring. Okay. Okay, I wouldn't call it that, but obviously Medeco 3 technology with this slider involved. A slider and the sidebar. Another European cylinder reference. And again. Phosphor bronze is what the springs are made of. The fact that they're magnetic, I really can't answer if that's some sort of a finish that's done over something that's ferrous, or is there something about the phosphor bronze that's ferrous? I just simply don't know. It's not my area of expertise. They show up in all of these European cylinders. Or international cylinders, they call them. Profile cylinders, they're also known as. Okay, so our regular springs are listed here for the 10 series door hardware. Now that price, 0.09, that's each. Okay, they should, since they're sold, since the unit of measure is each, and each contains 100, they should just just make that $9. Because if you try to order 50 springs, they're not going to sell you 50 springs. Anyway, don't be fooled. It's not, these things are not, 9 cents for a bag of 100, obviously. The 60 series cam lock, that'll take a different spring. Sidebar springs are different springs. 32 series tumbler springs are different. The slider springs are different, and then the springs that they use in the small format are different as well. Interesting. They'll give you the list price for a bag of 300 here, but not the rest. And then it shows up in the index. Okay, so that really talks about what these springs are and where you're going to use them. It's a standard driver spring for your pin tumblers. Now this page, this manufacturer's page in our site, has encyclopedic information, that older technical service manual, but if you're studying Medeco, that would be the manual to use, because it will not only introduce you to the original concept of the left, center, right skew cuts, but then the concept of the biaxial that gives you those 3 left, center, and right cuts, but with the chisel points either being fore or aft. And with that sort of evolution of fore and aft pins, you then have 6 possible pins per chamber. You have left, center, and right fore pins, and left, center, and right aft pins. And the difference there really is where the just trying to find a description of the pins. Well, this would work. Fore and aft. So the cut on the chisel point is skewed 20 degree, coincidentally, from the center line. So now we have a total of 6 different let's just say left, center, right, aft, and fore pins. So there are 6 pins per chamber. There are 6 lengths of each pin. Okay? So we've got 6 different pin possibilities in 6 different lengths if you're using their non-parity single step. 6 times 6, okay, is 36, and then in a 6-pin chamber, the question becomes is what's 36 to the 6th power? Okay? Lots of potential theoretical changes can happen there on those pins. So the technical manual is a great introduction to all things Medeco, and really what it doesn't have is the slider technology seen in Medeco 3 and bi-level, Medeco 3 bi-level or bi-level cylinders. And I'm by far I'm the furthest thing from being a Medeco expert. But nonetheless, if you wanted to dive into it, this would be a great place to start. Okay, let's finish up this video on camera. Okay, in conclusion, the name Medeco is synonymous with high security cylinders, at least in the United States. They absolutely dominate the local high security cylinder market. There are many other choices when it comes to high security cylinders, but Medeco is the name synonymous with it. And what really is the cardinal rule of being a high security cylinder in Medeco and others do this, but it's control over the key blanks. You can buy a Medeco cylinder on an online auction flea market, but if you can't get the key blanks, you can't do anything. And that's really the hook that the high security manufacturers hang their hat on. It's that control over keys, and if you are the authorized administrator of the system, you won't have a problem getting keys, but you are not just going to get keys duplicated, period, without proper, without the checks on the safeguards in place being monitored and reviewed. And that's what you're buying into. If you have a facility, if you have just a commercial space, and you want to know that when so-and-so gives you back the key, no copies have been made, that's what you're paying for. Let's take it all the way up to a national laboratory where security is obviously paramount. Knowing that you're not going to get, someone's not going to get their hands on those keys is what you're buying, because in my opinion, it would be unusual to think of someone standing at a door to pick the cylinder open, and while Medeco cylinders they're certainly not pick proof. You would say that they're virtually pick proof, and even out of the mouth of a very prestigious person in the history of Medeco has said, given enough time, if you exert enough energy, you put enough into it, anything can be bypassed, and that's certainly true. But with the Medeco platform, you get something that's highly pick resistant, which is what you would want in a cylinder platform. It's UL 437 compliant, which means it has met the requirements of the UL 437 outline of many different tasks: drill resistance, pick resistance, hammering resistance, flamethrower resistance, not literally, but there's a whole battery of things that are done to make a cylinder UL 437 compliant, and not all Medeco cylinders meet that, but Medeco 3 does. If you go with bi-level, it's not UL 437, but it will have a UL on the face of the cylinder that it is UL 437. And just fully capable of being able to handle the mechanical needs of material and electromechanical needs as well. If you were to dive into their current catalog, you see a lot of smart electronic security that they have over their cylinders. Anyway, I'm not an expert when it comes to Medeco, but a little bit of knowledge is a good thing. This is their CP030001 package of 100 pin tumbler cylinders or springs, or any. If you have any questions on this or any other Medeco product, please feel free to reach out to us. And thank you.